safe. And a lot of other things have been going on too. Before we start the show though, real quick, I just want to let you know a couple things. Brian Davis of Tate LaBianca Radio got a hold of me, and he has a new show now on Saturday nights. It's called the Longhorn Saloon, and he's based out of the East Coast. Now, I don't know much about it. I know it's just a new show. It's just getting started. I'm not even sure where the link is. I know if you just go to Tate LaBianca Radio and look at their links, you could find it, somewhere there. I know they have chat rooms there, and they could probably help you lead you to where Longhorn Saloon is. But he recently called me up on Saturday night. He had me on for about an hour and 10 minutes, and we talked about my tours, we talked about my show, we talked about Manson, and it was just phenomenal. And so look that up. Also, with this week, what I have going on is Bruce Lemaster. That's what tonight's topic is Bruce Lemaster's book that he had just written right here. Here it is. It's called My Insanity is a Killer. Actually, I'm in this book. He asked me for some help, and I helped him out, and so that's what we're going to be reviewing today. And with me today, as you can see over here to my left, is my beautiful girlfriend, Christine Leonard. Babe, thanks for being on the show. She's actually read the book, and so have I. We actually both read the book, but she's not like I am. I don't know, and she'll tell you a little bit more about herself in a minute here, but I just wanted to let you know that this is just something that's just intriguing to me. These are serial killers, and also and with Bruce Lemaster too. Let me explain a little bit about Bruce too. Bruce is a very nice guy who I met on Facebook. He lives in Hamlin, West Virginia, 25-year-old, 2 great kids, beautiful wife. Man, the man works hard, 70 hours a week. He puts in his time. He gives a great example of what a hard-working man should be and what is. And that's what he is. He is just a phenomenal guy, and he happens to be a writer. And this is his very first book that he's ever written, and we're going to discuss it right now. So but I wanted to get everything else out of the way first. Is there anything else that I should get before we get to the book? I think I cleared everything? All right, cool. So, with that said, we're going to talk about the book. Now, with this book, as you can see, it's got all the basic, it's got 9 of the most popular killers of all time, except for one. One on here was who I thought was actually the most intriguing, and we're going to talk about him first. Is right here on the top right here is H.H. Holmes. This guy right here, now, because everybody else, you got Dahmer, and you got Gacy, you got Manson, you got Ramirez, you got the big 4 up there. You got Bundy, actually the big 5 up there. You got all the ones you've ever heard of. But this guy right up here, H.H. Holmes, man, this is absolutely fascinating about him, what he has done, and the time period that when he came in, about the 1800s. He was the most fascinating to learn about in this book because he was so new to me. And I looked him up on YouTube. I saw the video, the hotel horror, this hotel that he had built to murder people. I mean, it would make it such a fascinating movie. So for me, someone who studies a lot about serial killers, there wasn't really much in the book that I already didn't know, because I know a lot about these guys, except for Holmes, who was just fascinating. Then from there, it went on to me looking at YouTube. Now, with my girlfriend here, who's going to give her opinion about the book, what caught your eye about this? What did you find right or wrong about the book?
Well, actually, pretty much the same thing you did, because I had never heard of this H.H. Holmes either. And I've done quite a bit of research on serial killers myself. What I wanted to know, actually, in the book, it mentions he was buried in concrete because he didn't want his body disturbed. And I wanted to know, Bruce, who honored that request. That just confused me. So I would like some more information on that. I'm probably going to have to Google it or something and get some more information on this guy. But it was fascinating to me. The other 8 killers we all know about, they're all very popular, but this one intrigued me. He just has this complete mind of a hotel and setting up the rooms so chloroform can come in and gas and kill the people,
right.
And the chute to get them down to the basement where there's a special oven that heats up to 3,000 degrees. I mean, I really want to know more about this guy.
It makes a fascinating movie. I think it would make a great movie.
Awesome.
It would actually really make a great movie.
Yeah.
Now, for my part in the book too, Bruce had asked me, he did a part on Manson. There's obviously everybody's get their own little part. Now, the Charles Manson part, what he'd asked me about when I first met him last year in 2003, he says, I'm writing a book. Could you explain to me the energy of Spawn Ranch and what it's like there? Since I go there so much, and at first I kind of thought he was writing a paranormal book, and because I wasn't really sure. When I first met him, I'm a writer, I'm doing this, and I wasn't really sure what kind of book it was. So when he was explaining the energy of Spawn Ranch, I thought it was a paranormal book. Then I found out later it actually wasn't. It actually more has a poetry sort of read to it. It's a very simple read. It's a very easy read. I found it fascinating. You know, maybe more information would be needed.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Other than that, though, it wasn't anything that we already didn't know, except for Holmes. That was the most intriguing part because I didn't know about him. I lost my train of thought again.
Well, actually, we were noticing in reading the book that the first 7 killers that that are discussed in the book, it's the poetry kind of layout is really obvious, and that's cool. Then we get to the last 2, John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer, and there's a lot of information. I mean, they get pages and pages, and it kind of moves away from the poetry into information, and I don't know, I was kind of curious why that happened, because there is a lot of information on the other
well, maybe those are his
subjects
favorites. You never
as well.
know.
And they could be his favorites. That's fine. I mean, it's all good, but I don't know. I just want to know more about everybody.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I always thought, and Bruce, I know you're watching this, I always thought you were more of an Ed Gein fan, but it does seem like in the book you kind of you give Dahmer and Gacy, you know, you give them a lot of attention in the book, the last part of it. One of the other best parts of the book, besides my part, no, I'm just kidding. Besides my part is the Jason Freeman part, man.
Yeah.
You have Charles Manson's grandson in here interviewing him, and that's fascinating. I mean, really the 2 best parts for myself, besides my part, really, which doesn't count because I'm biased about that, really is the Holmes part and the Jason Freeman part. Because honestly, everybody else in there I pretty much have learned about. But I like the poetry fashion sort of way you put it, you know, kind of twist you put on it. The one thing I have a problem with really is there's no numbers in the book. Now,
so we were trying to show Bruce's friend, or Stoner's friend, sorry, whatever, where his part in the book was, and we were having to count pages.
Right. Yeah. Now I don't know if he did that for whatever kind of reason at all, but you know what? There's just no pages in it. It's for someone like me, a stoner. When someone says, "Where's your part in the book?" I just say, "Hey man, it's just in the first 30 pages." And
he actually had it right. It's on page 30.
Would be on page 30. So yeah. So I mean, I don't know, because I don't really read that many books, but I don't know how a writer thinks. So why you did that, I have no idea. But honestly, with a lot of these guys, yeah, more information would be needed. I understand it's a thin book, I can just tell by looking at it. It's not many pages, but yeah, a little bit more information would have been needed. But the Holmes part was the best because he was so new, right? Yeah. We've been pounded over this, you know, in society with, you know, with the big guys, with Manson and Bundy and Gacy, you know, the big people that were always being pushed in our face. So seeing something new and fresh was really nice, man.
Maybe because it was from the 1800s and the media wasn't, you know, what it was when these guys came around. That could be it too. Although Jack the Ripper's in there and he got a lot of media, so I don't know.
It's funny how the 1800 guys, and this is kind of weird. I just realized when you said Jack the Ripper, the 1800 guys were doctors.
Yeah.
See, yeah, isn't that weird? So, yeah, isn't that weird? So the 1800 guys were like doctors, Jack the Ripper type of doctor, and then you have Holmes type of doctor, and they could get away with it back then instead of just being some guy who had a fascination or a fetish of some sort, or just a weirdo in your town, like the nut job or whoever. You know, these people were actually at one time very respectable. You know, and they were going to be a doctor, and then for some reason, doctor doesn't work out, and then you realize, in Holmes' case...
And going for the insurance money, and using his doctor.
In Holmes' case, it's a little bit different than in Jack the Ripper, because I think Holmes was really just a great moneymaker. He just knew how to take, you know, sell cadavers, sell them to these colleges, whereas Jack the Ripper, I think, was pretty much more into really wanting to kill women, and more murder. You know, and even though I think Holmes had no problem with looking at bodies and looking at them as being pieces of meat, kind of just like a cattle, like the way a rancher looks at his herd and says he sees the beef, he sees the product. You know, that's the way I feel Holmes is. He can see human people with
he made
feelings
a
and
production
everything.
out of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was just like a
oven,
slaughterhouse.
he built the hotel, he made the chutes, he had the vents for the gas to go into the rooms, and that's, I mean, that's so production line. It's just...
That's what makes it intriguing. So that's probably the best part of the book, is the fact that something new, something fresh came to our attention and caught our eye. So, and believe me, that would make a great movie.
Yeah.
That would really make a good movie.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So actually what we're going to do now is, we're going to go through the part with Jason Freeman here, because I just want Chris to read this. This is actually awesome. This is one little part here with Jason Freeman. We're not going to read the whole thing, just one little question and answer, and we're going to talk about some other stuff.
Okay.
So
the question is, what are your thoughts on the Manson family? This is to Jason Freeman. And his answer: since I've been able to meet Manson supporters, Most of the supporters and helpers for the 79-year-old man have their own intentions. A lot of people are focused on revealing the truth of the Manson case, false documents, and more in-depth, mind-boggling information. Then you get a few that are in their own way, collectors you could say, collecting any and all of Manson's things. From guitars to picks, most likely, all the way down to the old man's underwear. I found that collectors help in the ways they are able to, sending Grandpa many things he is allowed to have if he hasn't broke some basic rule and has to sit in the hole. My grandfather has many friends and believers on the same Christ-like faith living. Atwa, parentheses, or it would be air, water, trees, water. That didn't work out.
Air.
It says air, water, trees, water.
Air, tree, water, animals.
Okay, yeah, typo. That's my grandfather's base and backbone of life. There are many, thousands after thousands of people across the world that back his beliefs in the environment. The Manson family has formed into a lot of different people in 2013. That's a big typo.
Yeah, that's a big typo. Yeah, that's actually a great answer. And let's go back to what he said there about people collecting stuff here, because we're going to go back to, we're going to show you a little something here that we have on the table set up here. Now you've been to Spawn Ranch. I've taken my girlfriend up there a couple of times, and one of the best things, and this is cool because she knows I'm into collecting relics and stuff like this. And one thing I want to show you right here is this church key that you see right here. And back in the 50s and 60s, when you had a beer can, this is the way you opened it back then, before pool tabs came in. Pool tabs did not come in until the 70s, so many old timers, you know this. And she actually found this.
I know.
She actually found this.
The best relic.
Yeah, she found one of the best relics. And as you can see on this old can right here, and you turn around, you can see the rest. And that's the way they used to open these things. So you have the church key, and then you just punch right there, and then another little air hole in the top right there, and then you can drink your beer. And this is actually an old beer can from Spawn Ranch. This is from Spawn Ranch. Everything actually on here is from Spawn Ranch. Let me show you some other things real quick. This is a bed spring from the old Manson orgies and stuff like that used to happen up there at the ranch. Here's this is an old lock from one of the old sheds, probably where they had either a shed, a tool shed, or something like that, or kept the horses. This is a piece of the Manson rock. Here's another piece. This is a piece of the Manson rock too, and you can see these cut marks in here that the Church at Rocky Peak came down with a diamond cutter and cut it all up and everything. And this is actually a piece of the Manson rock. This is the actual rock that Manson sat on and played guitar for Terry Melcher when Melcher came down to Spawn Ranch in '69. So. And we got some relics, and Freeman's right, Jason Freeman's right. There are different people, what our angles are. My angle is actually nothing, really. Nothing except showing support, doing shows like this. I'm actually a sympathizer. I'm not a follower. I'm not anything else, man. I feel bad for the man. He didn't get a fair trial. I'm an ex-con myself. I've been to trial myself. I know all I've ever wanted was a fair trial. So that's just one of the reasons that that I am just so into this. But getting back to the relics and stuff in Spawn Ranch and you finding this church key, that's actually awesome.
I know.
Yeah, that was a great
I was like, what?
And let me just say this: we found this in the off a path from the famous cave at Spawn Ranch the Time Life magazine.
And
cave.
I'm always looking at the ground because I don't want to step on poison oak. And what do you know?
Right. But I tell people when you go down to the ranch, I tell people if you're going to go there, keep your eye on the ground, not only for snakes and poison oak, but for relics. This is how you find stuff. So you're digging around, and I was so glad you found this. This is actually a great find right here. That's awesome. Oh, and look who we have here. And we have who is that? We have the star puppet too. Just real quick, just making a little appearance. But also, before we go, anyway, this fell down right here.
I want to read your part in the book.
Oh, okay, yeah. Before we go, we're gonna I'm gonna have my girlfriend here read the part in my book. She wants to read it.
I do. It's awesome.
Yeah, she wants to read the part. So this is Bruce actually had me write some stuff, the energy of Spawn Ranch, and I wrote what it was like to be there, what it was like to feel there, what goes on there when you're down there alone. If you spend a lot of time down there like I do, believe me, things will happen down there. I've had, wow, it's hard to explain. Whether or not you believe me doesn't matter because, it gets pretty magical down there. So you want to read that one part there, and I'm going to fire up a do and do what I do best.
Okay. The energy at Spawn Ranch. I started going to Spawn Ranch in 1988 as a teenager. I knew about the area and the Manson family connection. My friends and I would go to the train tunnels and to Chatsworth Park to hike around. We didn't think much at the time, except that the place had a very eerie vibe to it that we couldn't explain, and we thought it was fun. But we would always leave before it got dark. As I got older, I started to get into spirits and ghosts, so I thought I'd make a trip to Spawn Ranch to do some filming. While spending at least 3 days a week there for a year, I have felt some incredible energy there. A feeling like no other. So much has happened there, and after some research about the ranch, I realized why I was feeling that way when I was there. People have died there and were murdered there. The feeling there is like no other place. We all heard the story growing up as a kid. You almost feel like you've been there before. You've heard the story so many times, but when you actually get there, there is a feeling of being cold, even in the middle of the day, as you stare into an empty field, imagining where the buildings of the ranch once stood. As I walk through an empty field, I have an overwhelming feeling of what it must have been like to work on a horse ranch. You close your eyes and you can hear horses breathing. You can smell their waste, you can feel that dry dust hitting you in the face, and all of a sudden, for a brief moment in time, you're back in 1969 at Spawn Ranch. Never open your eyes there as long as they're closed. You'll hear, feel, and smell the ranch. It's incredible. Now, I believe the only reason I can feel these things there is because I am very respectful to the area. I'm on the side of the spirits there, and I mean no harm, but when I dug up a 1929 Ford truck, the spirits have been wondering what I'm up to. Even the wildlife there is different than other places. They act different, like they know what's happened at the ranch. The lizards own that place. They protect it like a god. Even the deer want to know why you're at the ranch. The place has a vibe which, depending on the person, it can either freak you out or you can become very comfortable there. For me, I'm used to the vibe there. I feel at peace with the energy, and to me it wasn't all bad. It used to be a movie ranch before Manson got there, so a lot of positive things happened there before Manson. But when people start dying and murders are being planned and all that energy is focused on one spot, Spawn Ranch, I believe that energy will stay there and live forever. The land has been spoiled. The negative energy there is strong if you look at it as being negative. I believe spirits talk and want to connect with us. They watch us to see what we're doing there. If you're good and respectful, they will let you enjoy your day. If you bring a bad vibe to the ranch and all you do is say bad things about it and the family, well, the ranch will let you know it heard you and didn't like what you said. I felt it. I've seen it. I've filmed it. People say Spawn Ranch is angry, maybe a little. I think it just hates being known as a bad place because before 1968 it was a regular place people loved. Bruce Fox, a.k.a. Stoner Van Houten.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. At first it's funny because when I got the book back and I read it, I couldn't believe I actually had said that, and I asked him, like, did I actually really write that? And I did, which is great. We're getting close to the end here. We're going to, just real quick here, we're going to give our grade of the book. I was just thinking about that right now, and between the two of us right now, on a scale from A to F, right now, if we had to grade your book, right now I'm going to give you, for the book, you know, for me it's probably a B minus. Okay, you know, it's good. I like it because I like the characters on it. Even though I already know a lot of what you already talking about, I like it. I like those characters. The Holmes part was great. The Friedman, the grandson part, bringing that into the book was great. And also because, you know, you asked me to be in it too. It needs work. Does it need work? Of course it needs some work, man. There's some things there it needs here. But I think, you know, a B minus for me, a B, you know, that's probably what it is for me. What do you think?
All right, I give it a B plus. And I give it a B plus because it could have gotten an A except for the grammar. I personally...
Was it spelled wrong, or, I mean, meaning the grammar about what?
The grammar overall. We needed some correct punctuation, we needed some correct tense, some little things like that. So it was written, if it's poetry style and it's in your words, that's fine, but when it's quoting and things, it needs to be grammatically correct. So it just needed a spell check. Otherwise, well done. I'm really pleased with it. I'm pleased with the characters that you used. I'm happy that I didn't know who one of them was.
Yeah.
And now I have somebody new to Google.
That was actually probably, yeah. That was
I love Bruce's part. I love Jason Freeman's part.
Yeah,
I think
Freeman's part was
those two
great.
personal injections of personality, you know, rather than just stories about people that we don't know. I think that was really cool. So well done. I'm pleased with it. Here's the cover again.
Yeah. And Bruce, let me just tell you, man, you're a great guy. Thank you so much for asking me to be. I'm so honored to be in the book. I've never been asked to do anything, man. I'm just a stoner from California, man, trying to do a little YouTube show. And what you're doing is phenomenal. You're a phenomenal person. You are a great father and probably a great husband. And I'm sure your wife will attest to that, man. You're just a great person, man, and I just love talking to you all the time, man. And that's really all the time we have right now for the show. So next week, I'm going to try to get Cindy Benson on here next week, and we're going to talk a little bit Manson family and why Hollywood's trying to jump on the Manson bandwagon once again to make millions off them while Manson sits in a cell and gets nothing. That's next week.